4 months ago, we started saving $100 a day and ended up buying my wife a new car for her birthday. But what the real reason how we were able to save up $20,000 in a little under 4 months was because how we set up the budget. February proves that the system works. And today I'm breaking down every number so you can see exactly how we did it and how we're about to roll that momentum into our investing challenge. So let's go ahead and jump into the budget. So first, before we cover the expenses, let's go over what actually comes in before worrying about what's left over or going out. So under income here, we see paychecks, business income, interest, and then other income like selling things on Facebook Marketplace, or if you have a side hustle where you make like handmade items or you paint things for fun and sell them, it can go under other income or business income if you want to put it there. So we do take a paycheck. And then this month we did have an extra paycheck. It was a 3 paycheck month. So we see $10,343 here. We originally budgeted $8,200 just like every other month, and then totally forgot the third paycheck ended right at the end of February. So we went ahead and budgeted that, threw it into February instead of carrying it over into March. Business income, we take the same every month. And then interest, we ended up taking $19. You'll see that actually changed for March. But in February, we took $19 of just interest from the bank accounts. And then other income here, you see $318. We sold some things on Facebook Marketplace. Now going through expenses. So your biggest expense is usually housing, either whether that's through rent or mortgage. So for us, we do own our own home, so we do pay a mortgage. That was $21.42, the same every month. So we went ahead and allocated that with zero left over. Insurance is one of those items that can save you a lot of money if you pay it all up front, usually around 10 to 15%. So I do have a broker that is licensed in all 50 states. So if you're here in the United States, just let me know, comment down below, and I can share you his info. But yeah, he helps us with our home and auto and a few of my business insurance. So with this one, we just allocate $300 a month. I don't like seeing a $3,000 bill show up in July. So we go ahead and budget $300 a month. We might even be a little over, but I'd rather have more then when that bill comes in rather than less and have to try to budget less for the month. So we go ahead and allocate 300 here. Gas and electric actually came in less than what we thought. We budgeted like 250. It came in as then 239. Water bill is 104. Home improvement is we put $100 each. You'll see from the January video and the December video, we did have some work done in the house. So that actually took away from this sinking fund that I like to see this as a rollover. So you'll see like rolling over from last month is 1,025 plus this month's 100. And that's why you see the 1,125 here. I might increase this just in case, just to have a bigger buffer. But otherwise, I like how it's growing. We haven't pulled from it, at least in 1 month, and I don't plan on bringing anything out of it. But since we have so much left in the budget this month, I might actually put more towards this sinking fund. Then we do have pest control. Our pest control comes every other month. So you'll see that we'll put $64 here. It'll have zero. So it'll roll over to the following. And then that way, when they do bill the following month, it'll be 120 and some change. It'll actually come out and zero out. So that's why I put it here. It's just to average out that expense every month and not have these weird highs and lows every month. So as we come down to auto, you see that we have $2,982 here, which is not common for us. We don't have a car payment. So for this one in particular, normally you would see this if you've been following our car savings challenge we've been doing since November 1st. You'll normally see like $2,500 or $100 per day times the amount of days in the month down here in the savings goals. But because we're using the funds this month or in the month of February, we went ahead and put it up here so we could pull from these funds. So that this like rollover fund is a lot easier to use than subtracting from a savings goal inside of Monarch Money. So 2,982, we zeroed it out because that's what all the money was. So 2,982, and then it zeroes out because we did put all the money that we had saved towards the new car. So if you haven't seen it already, we did release a short video on the YouTube channel where we actually show my wife's reaction when we showed her the car. So that was pretty cool. So if you want to check that out, you can head over to the channel. It's on there. It's also on our Instagram and Facebook page. But so the auto payment, $2,982, auto insurance, this is also coupled with our broker. We usually just throw, say $200 in for both cars. And then that way, as it adds up, when July, August comes and they send us the bill, we're fully covered in the sinking fund. Then auto maintenance, this is another fund where I might throw a little bit extra in this month just to try to increase the total amount here. You never know when anything goes wrong. In the November video or October video, you saw that right at the end of the month, my car had an issue and it was like $1,800. It just snuck up within like 3 days to the end of the month. It wasn't plannable. But because we do budget, we keep it strict. We had enough left over to just work it into the budget and have less left over, but we don't always have that capability. So I'd rather have it pre-planned than worry about it later. So I might put in a little extra here. With vehicle registration, we do know that we just paid for the vehicle registration fees with the purchase of the new car, but mine will be coming due here this summer. So we went ahead and put $80 added every month. So that way we don't get snuck up on that vehicle registration that shows up in the mail. So as you see, car wash here, it's $28. We used this $28 to clean my wife's previous car to try to maximize sale value, which brings it to a good point. We ended up going with our previous car to the dealerships that we were looking at and shopping around, and none of them really gave us a good enough offer on the car that we had already received from Carvana and CarMax. So if you guys are wanting to shop it around and see how much that you could get for a used car that you currently have, definitely try those two places because they kind of set the bar, and then you can give that to the dealerships. In our case, it didn't work. I said, hey, I got this offer for this much money from Carvana or CarMax. You know, are you guys at least able to match it? That way you take it as a trade-in. We buy the new car from you. It's an easy transaction, and they didn't want to. So we went ahead, sold the car to Carvana, and then took that money and rolled it right into the next car. $28 for the car wash, food and dining. So this is where groceries, I usually budget around $700 to $800 for this one. Sometimes we go a little over. We actually came in a little under. So $665. Restaurants, this was actually trailing low almost the entire month until Valentine's Day. And then towards the tail end of the month, I had just kind of mentioned to my wife that, hey, we have some more room in the budget to go out to eat. It is something that I've been really, really trying to lower my fast food budget and put it towards restaurants to be able to take her on date nights. And so we were able to exercise that a little bit. You know, we went on, I think, about 3 dates this past month that was strictly just between us. So it was really nice. And then the fast food budget, which is normally over $200, we brought down to $155. And that was partially due to going and buying the car. My oldest son and I, we actually went over and had to drive 2 hours to get to the car. So we kind of went through this budget right at the end of the month. But yeah, so 155 is where it ended. Bills. So you'll see phone bill, $139. If you remember from previous videos, this has always been $86 or $90. I've recently taken over all the family's phone bills. So that way I cover mine, my wife's, and my oldest son's. So that way we have 3 phones for less than 50% extra. It's actually pretty cool. And then subscriptions, $93. This was over $100, and as you've seen in the previous videos, but this one we've been slowly kicking out the different subscriptions that we just don't normally use or we don't use often. It's just not worth paying every month to just have it for maybe one show that you watch. You can always stream it, so it's fine. Travel and vacation fund. This is one that we really prioritize, is less gifts for birthdays and Christmas and more experience vacations as a family to remember later on. So we did end up booking some flights and some things to do for a vacation that's coming up in the fall. So we went ahead and allocated $1,000 this month. We did end up spending, so it took it out from the previous rollover fund. So you'll see that rolled over 3,414 plus our 1,000 and then subtract what we spent. And we saw $432 left over. Now pair that with what we're going to save over the next few months. We'll have plenty of funds left over to enjoy the things to do in that area and not really have to worry about being guilty and constricted to a budget. It's one reason why I really enjoy Monarch Money. It's because it kind of gives you that peace of mind where you have a dollar to look at and you're not constantly worried about whether you are or aren't close to the end of the budget. So that's why I really like it. It just lays it out automatically for you as the transactions come in. Then it brings us down to children's lunch money. I did have to refill both of their accounts. Shopping. If you've watched the previous videos, you know this is a category I never spend except this month. So of course, with Valentine's Day, I wanted to take my wife shopping. So we did a little bit there. $738 went to shopping, as much as I hate it. So we did end up spending from this budget this month. And then health and wellness. We do have medical expense. My wife and I are expecting our third. So we are trying to allocate some of this rollover fund to increase over the next few months, just in case the insurance doesn't cover the rest of the bill and we have any pop-up medical bills, because they always seem to charge you for something that the insurance doesn't want to cover. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-plan that and put some extra money in this little medical sinking fund. And then we have dentist, my wife, myself, our kids. We do have routine cleanings that we do. We've been trying to start that and really take care of our teeth. So this is just a fund that we've been really trying to add to. And then I think my oldest is going to need some ortho work. So it does need to actually get quite a bit higher. And then haircuts, we didn't get as many haircuts this month. So that's why it's usually closer to like 150 or more. And that's why it's only down at 117. And then dental insurance is 145 with some of the, I'm sure you guys know more than I for this one. So then you see for dental insurance is $145. This one I might end up canceling. I just realized that with going to multiple dentists that, maybe take a portion or don't take all of the insurance for some of the stuff that they charge, they just don't end up covering what you're putting in. So we'll probably end up canceling this in the next month or two, mainly because some of like this ortho work that we want to get done, it won't cover at all, like 0%. So we might just get rid of it entirely. If you happen to know a good provider that does cover quite a bit, feel free to leave it down in the comments. Let us know. Until the meantime, a month or two, and this will probably be off of there. I just haven't quite seen the bang for the buck. And then gifts, this is for a little bit of small stuff for my wife's birthday and Valentine's Day. I threw under gifts. So that's why you see $599 here. And then insurance, this is just like a life insurance policy. So it's like $14. And then total expenses, you'll see down here, we budgeted 11,666 and we have actual spent was 13,087. That looks a little off, but the reason is all these rollover funds. So when you spend for money that you had previously saved and it has accumulated, these numbers kind of look off a little bit. But if you ever use Monarch money, putting some of the money into like a sinking fund or a goal down below is a little bit of a hassle, putting in and taking out to use. So I really enjoy just using these rollover funds. And that way you can pick and choose. So as we have this left to budget here, I'll show you how they work. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to come up to the main housing expense. Like I said, I wanted to increase this home improvement. So let's go ahead and stick $500 here. So we'll increase that by 400. We don't want to do it every month. So I went ahead and unchecked this box. Pest control is fine. For auto registration, I like it auto maintenance, just in case we get something that's a little extensive. We'll go ahead and add just another extra $100. Groceries is fine, not a rollover. Travel and vacation, I like where that's at. I don't need to throw any extra because we'll have plenty over the next few months to add to it. And with the dentist, with the work that we know that is coming in the future, I think I'm going to throw $1,000 here on top of the 500 that we had allocated. And then for medical with the baby coming, I'm also going to stick another 1,000 there just to have a buffer. Hopefully we won't need to tap into it. And then we can just kind of keep that and wear it back down to a more reasonable level to keep as a medical emergency fund, if you will. And we still have 942 left. So we could throw this all into investments, into a retirement. We are actually doing an investing challenge in the future I'll go over. So let's go ahead and allocate this to one of these expenses here. So for instance, let's do home improvement because that usually does seem to get pretty extensive. So we'll make that 1,000. And then I don't foresee any auto maintenance items popping up. We'll throw the extra into this travel fund. That way we'll definitely put it to good use. Okay, 1,442. So when you see this $0 left to budget in the right-hand corner, that is what's called a zero-based budget. You have taken all the money that has come in for the month. You've allocated everything for your needs, your wants, the saving, investing, or debt pay down goals. And if you have any extra, you want to give it a job. It can't just sit idle. Sure, you could put it into high yield savings. That's saving. It may stay in your checking. But if you're saving it, that's savings. So what I usually have my clients do if they have an Ally or SoFi or if they have a checking and a savings account is make the transfer to savings. So when Monarch Money picks it up, you can allocate that towards your savings goal. Or the easiest part for me is I just allocate it towards a fund that I know I'll end up using. So that's why I like to see it. I want to use every penny that comes in. So that's why it says $0 left to budget. And let's go ahead and check what we're going to see for March. So we'll start at income, just like February. This is not a 3 paycheck month. So I went ahead and allocated the normal income here for paychecks, 8,274. Obviously, we haven't gotten paid yet. So I said 0. And then for the business income, there was a bit of extra income sitting in that we didn't need to utilize in the business. So we went ahead and took an extra payment here because I do have a plan for it for this investing challenge that I'll talk about. And then interest, because we took the money out of Fidelity, it didn't get a chance to gain as much interest as last month. So it's only $11 instead of $19, which is fine. Mortgage, so $21.42. We know what the mortgage payment's going to be. Home insurance, this is $300. We're sitting actually really nice for this. We might even be over what it was. I think it was $2,900 for the year last year. So by the time that we get to June, July, August, we'll be a little over. So we'll have a buffer in case the premium really does increase quite a bit. Gas and electric, we were a little under. So at 250, I'm pretty comfortable with. Water, 160 for the month. We've been routinely over, but I'll leave it just in case. I always like to downgrade and then we can reallocate at the end of the month. Home improvement, I'll show you this. When you click here, it updates. That's why it goes to 2,125. Whenever you make changes to a previous month and you come over here to your rollover funds, you want to click them so that way they kind of auto recalculate. It will do it on its own over time, but it's just something to click, and that way it's visual, it's right then and there. And then pest control, you see the 64 came in, 128. The pest control company will come this month and then they'll take their payment and I'll have like a few dollars left over, I think. Auto payment, 0, back to 0. So we get to utilize the funds. Auto insurance, 200, allocating towards that July, August timeframe when we pay it all in one payment. Auto maintenance, this is okay. I'll go ahead and click that so it reallocates. Okay, 1,267 is $150. Vehicle registration, we know that's going to be coming. So it says 600 here. I might even be a little over on that, but I'd much rather be safe than sorry. Car wash, we'll go ahead and put $10 here. Now that it's starting to get warmer outside, I'll probably wash all the vehicles by hand. I enjoy it. I usually pay my kids anyway. So you won't really see a lot of this because it's usually some sort of cash or a gift or take them out to eat and whatever thing they're wanting to snack on. So groceries, $700 like normal. Restaurants, since we spent $400 last month and I got those dates with my wife, that was really enjoyable. I wanted to allocate more money here. And fast food routinely is $250. We'll go ahead and lower this and I'll leave this checkbox checked so that way it applies $200 to all future months. So I'll just keep an eye on that. If I'm getting close, I can always take it from somewhere else. But otherwise I want to keep that as low as possible to keep this food budget preferably under $1,500. But groceries and restaurants and going on 3 kids, it tends to inflate. Bills, we know this will be roughly around 130. So I'll go ahead and just apply 140 to give it a few extra. Subscriptions, we know around 93 every month. We might try canceling 1 or 2 more, but we'll leave that at 95 for now. Travel and vacation. It did recalculate. See, there we go. So 1,000 here brings us up to 1,874. And then children's lunch money, we'll put 100 here. I just filled their accounts, but this is yet again just one of those things where in case they're low for any reason, I have it already budgeted. So I'll leave that, and at the end, if we haven't used it, I'll take it off and reallocate it somewhere else. Shopping, I'll stick 150 here, even though we never end up using it. I have a feeling I'm going to end up using it again this month, as much as I don't like it, but we'll put 150 here as a placeholder. Then the medical, you'll see 500 here brings us up to 5,000 or 4,599, and the dentist is 4,856. That way it's in the sinking fund, it's there, and it's allocated. So if something does happen, we're not scrambling to pay the bill. We know where it is. So it's allocated here. Haircuts, like normal, it usually is around 175. We did just get our haircuts today. So right to start off the month, we're leading in with a pretty big expense. So this will most likely be 175, even closer to 200 this month. Dental insurance, like I said, we could make a savings here and just go ahead and cancel the plan. I might do a bit of research into it just to see. Most likely we're going to end up canceling this plan. Gifts, because my wife's birthday was yesterday. We did end up taking her out to eat and enjoy. So it was $105. Insurance, same as every month, it's $14. And you see that we do have this $5,851 left to budget. What I'm doing for this extra left in the budget is we're now going to be starting a new investing challenge now that we're not doing the savings challenge. The investing challenge is going to be putting $100 every day into something like what's called VTI, which is a Vanguard Total Market Index Fund. It pretty much encompasses all of these stocks in the US stock market. You have index funds that track the S&P, you have index funds that track the NASDAQ or the Dow Jones. I want to buy the whole market. So now that we are finished the March budget, let's go back to February and I want to cover something. So out of all these, we have a zero-based budget method where we did budget, most of these expenses and even to rollovers to make sure we have security for future expenses that might come down the line that we're not seeing yet. So there are a few frameworks you can use when budgeting. You have the 50-30-20 rule, and what they're meant for is to give you a guide on where you should allocate your money within your budget. Some people like a 75% needs budget because they may have, 2 car payments, a large mortgage, and they're completely fine living that way. They don't take vacations much. They really enjoy just staying home. So they would allocate more of the funds to the needs category. The 50-30-20 rule is a pretty basic standard. It kind of just gives you a good realm to shoot for. 50% needs, it gives you 30% wants, and then 20% goes to saving, investing, or debt pay down. And you can switch those last two if you want. 50% needs is pretty standard, but if you only wanted to spend 20% on wants and invest or save the rest, totally doable. It is personal finance. It's yours. It's personal to you. So if we were to take all of these expenses in February, we would take this, say budgeted $15,108. I won't worry about the $1. $15,108, and we go and count our housing and our auto, maybe the phone bill, because it is needed in order to do my job. Groceries are needed. Restaurants and fast food aren't. So you could pull all these into a needs and wants categories if you truly would like. When you break all these down in the way that I would say is, these are my needs, these are my wants, and then here's my saving and investing. They come out to $9,268, which is 61% of the budget for the income for this month. And then wants are $2,398, which is about 16%. And then saving and investing is $3,442, which is about 23%. Those aren't horrible numbers. But one thing that you saw is that the needs being at 61% over the 50% that is standard is due to that large car savings budget that we ended up putting into this new car. If we were to take that back out, just like a normal month, needs would be at 42%, wants would still be at 16%, that would never go up. And then the amount that we either saved or invested, it doesn't have to be both, or paid down debt, is 42%. So knowing that beforehand is just really nice to say, oh, maybe I can allocate some over here. Maybe I could spend more on the wants. You know, if I want to take a weekend vacation with my wife, absolutely is within the budget. I can raise my wants and take away from saving that month, because 42% is a lot in that category. Perfectly fine. Me personally, I'm a numbers nerd. So for these, I would rather put more money into saving, investing, instead of more wants or raising my lifestyle creep and buying a little more knickknacks here and there. It's just not my cup of tea. So I'm going to be doing the investing challenge coming up because I want to put every bit of money that we have extra in the budget to work. I want to really start maxing out the Roth IRA and the brokerage account to see how high we can get it. Because once we can get that higher earlier in life, there will become a time called coast fire when you reach a certain point where your investments can grow and pay for your retirement without you need to putting more money in. So that's kind of the goal, you know, whether that's when I'm 40 or 45, and then I can enjoy the budget from then on. I don't need to invest anymore. I don't think that'll happen because I do enjoy investing and watching it grow. But, you know, if we get to that point and my wife and I can live off any extra investments by the time we're 50 or 55, I think that should be the goal. So me personally, that's what I'm doing. You can choose what you want to. But yeah, we do, if we take out the car payment, we do fall within the 50-30-20 rule here. I personally try to shoot for a saving and investing rate over 25%. If you followed the car series, you've seen what disciplined saving can do. Now we're taking that same energy into investing. So starting this month, we're investing $100 every day and another $100 anytime the market drops. So if you want to follow that experiment in real time, hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, because this next chapter might be even more powerful than the first. See you there.